everybody. I just wanted to share with you this story that my friend Roy told me yesterday. Roy and his wife Leslie just bought a new car. Well, Leslie bought a new car. And as they were leaving the dealership, he was driving his car and she's following him. And he looks in his rearview mirror, he looks back and he sees that her headlights are not on. It's just her parking lights and it's nighttime. So he's flashing his lights, trying to get her attention to get her to turn her lights on. And she doesn't get it, but they come to a red light, so he jumps out and he runs back and tells her to turn her lights on. And she said, oh, in her old car the lights came on automatically, so she didn't even think about it. So she turns on her lights, and he says to follow him to a convenience store because he wants to get a drink. So they go to the convenience store, he gets his drink, and they leave again. And he looks back, and sure enough, she doesn't have her lights on again. So at this point, they're coming up to a red light in a kind of questionable section of town. So again, he flashes his lights a few times, and finally she realizes it, and she turns her lights on. Well, now it's time for him to turn, and he was waiting for the light to change so he can turn. So it's his turn to make the turn now, but there's this lady running across the street, and she's like dodging and weaving in and out of traffic, and he can't turn yet because he doesn't want to hit her, so he's waiting for this woman to cross the street. So right about this time, she gets across the street out of the way, opens his passenger door, and gets in the car with him. It's a hooker. He said to her, he goes, no, not you. And she gets all offended and gets out of the car and slams the door and smacks the side of the car. And then Leslie calls him and says, was that a hooker? He's like, yeah. And he says all he could think was if this was like a sting or something, the cops were watching and waiting at any time because he had been flashing his lights and this hooker got in the car with him. And one thing I have to add though, Roy, if you're watching this, it occurred to me later. I was wondering why you didn't have your cell phone with you in the first place, but then you said Leslie called you, but you didn't call her. You got out to run back and tell her. If I find out you were just too cheap to call her and tell her on her lights, I'm going to come over to your house and kick your butt just for being cheap. Bye.